What's up guys, my name's Dychronic here on this Destiny 2 video, and today we're going to be talking about Triumph. Getting as many Triumph score as you can, showing off your achievement whoring ability, and just overall playing this game and having an objective to follow. The Triumphs, there's a lot of them, so there's a lot to say. Currently mine says 860. This number will be different for you because there's certain challenges that are 0 or they're secret and they don't show up in this number yet, and as you get them, this number will raise. I assume there's probably closer to 1,000 Triumphs in the game right now. Now, Triumphs don't really give you anything other than emblems and achievement scores, so you can get this emblem randomly while getting Triumphs. I think I got it at around 15,000 Triumph, which is pretty much exactly the amount that I had when I first started Forsaken. Other ones include getting special things, like this one came from getting the secret chest from that Hive Baron. There's a lot of different emblems that are randomly throughout, so there's a lot of guides online that talk about the different ones that if you want to go for them, you can go for. In this video, I wanted to talk about what to expect from Triumphs. Now, there's a lot of Triumphs to read, almost 860 different ones. It can be very overwhelming, and in this video, hopefully, I can sum up entire sections of them, so you don't have to worry about it, which sections can be done passively, which things to keep in mind as you're doing them, and then hopefully some tips on specific ones that I found really hard. Hopefully this is not a super long video, but this is going to be more in depth than probably most videos out there. So anyways, let's go ahead and get started with a count. Now this is going to be all about the different things that are not specific to any particular activity. They're going to be across your Titans, your Hunters, your Warlocks, your Moments of Triumphs, and your Clan. These are all pretty passive, but some of them you can kind of focus on as you get them. All three of these are pretty much going to be the same idea, so I'm just going to show you what the Titans like. The Titan section is pretty straightforward. There's some special ones like completing heroic public events with 3 Solar Titans. These 3 are all very specific, so if you want to do these 3 specifically, look at them. But the other ones are all going to be about these subclasses. So each one of the different subclass trees, whether it be creating orbs using defensive strike or running certain codes using thrown shields, there's always going to be 3 of these. I think maybe one of them there's only 2, but there's most likely going to be 3 of these for each one of these subclasses, for each one of these subclass trees. Just follow what they do, and what you need to do to complete them should be pretty straightforward. Likewise, there's one for each one of the grenades. So getting 200 kills or 100 kills for some of them, I don't remember which one, but some of them are 100 kills. Getting 200 kills with each one of the grenades, and as soon as you do get all of the grenade kills for a specific grenade, for example my Thermite, switch to another one. So as soon as I finished the Thermite grenades, I switched over to the fusion grenade. So as soon as you see a Triumph pop up where it says you got a bunch of kills with a certain grenade type, just go to your subclass and switch to another grenade type that you haven't gotten. Likewise, with the super stuff, as soon as you finish this certain super, switch to another one that you haven't finished yet. Next section, Moments of Triumph. These are all 0, and they're all from Destiny 1. So if you've done Destiny 1 stuff, or you've done, for example, Destiny 2 beta test, or Solstice of Heroes stuff, these will all show up here. If you haven't done these yet, you cannot do them anymore. These are expired. And then lastly, clan stuff. Join a clan, max out clan, get experience, open clan packages. This will come over time. Next up, let's talk about destinations. This is probably going to be the first one I'm going to complete because it's pretty much the easiest one to do solo. It has to do with all the different things you can do on all of the different planets. That includes doing patrols, quests, events, bosses, lost sectors, finding escapees, which are usually just like high value targets running around, high value targets in lost sectors or public events or different places, just doing all the different things on all the different planets. And all of them, again, should be pretty straightforward. If you want to do, for example, Flashpoint or the Heroic Adventures, both of them are lined up on the Flashpoint, so you can only do a Heroic Adventure if there is a Flashpoint there, or if there's already Heroic Adventures like Mars. And other than that, it should be pretty straightforward. For example, if you see this one, purchase a bounty from Spider that has to do with getting this specific guy, the Gravetide Summoner. If you see that in his inventory, grab that, you can complete this. These will probably be done passively as you go along, but something to keep in mind is pick up the bounties. I don't know where the bounties are. Here's a bounty one. Pick up all the bounties. Anytime there's a flashpoint on a location, you're dropping with a character, pick up the bounties. That's free destination materials, free experience, and you get to work on this particular one. Each one of the locations have it. I think on Io, I've actually completed the bounty one. Where's the bounty one? I want to show off the bounty here. No. Yes? Yes, I've completed the bounty one. That's because I was missing a lot of phase glass needles that I needed, so I did a lot of bounties. By the way, bounty is probably the best way to get destination materials. You get 10 from each bounty. Completing the 3 bounties takes like 5 to 10, and you do them on all 3 characters every day, you get tons of material. But that's pretty much it for destinations. Really not much more to it. You just got to read them and figure out what you need to do on each of the different locations. However, I would say one thing is Dreaming City is huge. You can see how many pips there are down here. This one goes on for a while. It has to do with Blind Well, it has to do with doing the special challenges, Ascendant stuff, time trials. There's a lot of things here and a lot of secret ones, which I cannot really help you with because there's really just so many of them. So just play a lot in the Dreaming City, or the Tangled Shore has 3 pips. There's going to be a lot of things to do. I wouldn't really worry about it until you really want to crack down on this stuff. I don't really know what to tell you with that because there's too many secret ones for me to help you very much. Next up, let's talk about events. Ignore them. There's nothing that we can do here. I assume this is going to be the next Solstice of Heroes or Dawning event or SRL or something. I don't think it's going to be Faction Rally. However, Faction Rally does not appear in any of the other ones, but for the most part, ignore it for now. Next up, let's talk about Gambit. This one's going to be a bit of a long one because there's a lot of very specific details, but I'll try not to ramble too much. A lot of the Gambit ones can be obtained over a lifetime of just playing it. A lot of them are just winning rounds, getting kills, doing different things like killing as invader. For the most part, equip the best loadout that you possibly can. Check out my video that I released a few weeks ago on that particular topic, and you should do well. I'm going to try to pick out a few of them that you have to pay attention to. For example, Undying. Win a Gambit match without ever dying, or a round without ever dying. You have to win, and you have to not die. So if you find that you've gone on quite a streak and you haven't died yet, try to stay back. Use a bow or a long-range scout rifle or something. And whenever an invader shows up, just hide in the back. You should be able to get these if you're paying attention. And of course, there are these 3 for doing a match with each of the classes with the full set of armor. Those ones, make sure you keep any apocalyptic set armor pieces that you find, because you can also get powerful reward for each one of these, for each one of the classes. As far as rank goes, just play a lot and reset a lot. I think the maximum one is resetting twice. So if you reset twice, you should get all of these. Bounties are also pretty much straightforward. Complete the bounties, complete the challenges. Again, challenges are gonna be those things you can see from the director. So if you remember from a previous video of mine, a challenge is gonna be like this. You can see the word challenge. If you see it in the director, it is a challenge. So if you want to complete challenges for that particular triumph, you have to do those things. So if you're going for these bounties, if it says challenge, you have to complete those things. If it says bounties for the particular characters, you have to complete bounties. Next section is mastery. First section on that is going to be moat. This section is all about sending 5 of each blocker, so just make sure you have good variance so you can get that one pretty quickly. Blocker section is pretty much the flip side of that. Make sure you defeat as many of the different type of blockers as you can. These 3 I'm pretty sure are bugged because I've sent over 9 small blockers in a single match and I haven't gotten it, and multiple should mean 4. I've even sent over 4 or 5 large ones. It still hasn't worked. This one, I don't know. It's bugged. Don't worry about these 3. Wait until they unbug. This section is all about invading. Get invades, get lots of kills, kill the invaders. The 2 specific ones to pay attention to is while you're invading, collect 3 motes in the opposing arena and return safely. If you kill an enemy, they drop 3 motes. Or assume if the enemies kill the adds in the area, you should be able to collect those motes as well. So grab their motes as you come in. You should be able to get this one. The other one to pay attention to is to heal the primeval from below 70 to full health. Now this one, just wait for them to take off a bar out of the health, go over there, kill 3 to 4 of them, and you should get this. I think 3 or 4 of them should fully heal the primeval. However, this one is a little difficult because by the time you get over there, they might have taken off another bar, so you may not be able to get a full health primeval. This section, again, kind of straightforward. A couple ones you need to do is carry 15 while you're invading and get a kill. So for this one, try to get 15, then go over and hope you can get a kill and not die. If you do die, you might lose the round, but this is a specific one if you want to try to go for it. I actually got this one by accident. I wasn't paying attention. Other ones would include killing enemy invaders while they're in their super. Not a lot of enemy invaders use their super because they usually go with the sleeper, but some of them do that. And then lastly, melee kills. this is gonna take me forever. I would honestly recommend shoulder charge. That's the most effective way of getting the kill. This whole section has to do with getting kills of a certain type, whether getting precision kills, melee kills, weapon type kills. This is all about just making sure you kind of spread out your arsenal as much as you can. So as soon as you finish the hand cannon, move over to start using auto rifles. As soon as you finish that, to pulse rifles, sidearms. The hardest one in my opinion, probably going to be grenade launcher, rocket launcher, and linear fusion rifle. However, linear fusion rifle is probably those 27 kills. Those are probably all of them on enemy guardians. So if, as far as you're using the sleeper simulant, you probably should get that one. Outside of that, as soon as you finish one, move on to the next. And if you ever, and I repeat, if you ever see a high value target, get them immediately. These are very rare and they disappear very quickly. And the team ones, I have no idea. They're both secret. If somebody could tell me what those are, I would appreciate it. It seems a little odd. Next up, let's talk about medals. These ones do give you a score. The Crucible medals don't give you score. That's why I mention it. And a lot of them are somewhat specific to doing what they specifically require you to do. For the most part, honestly, I would take the time and review each one of these. They're all out of very specific one. Like killing the last blocker, you could just spawn kill the blockers. Depositing 38 motes in a single round, perhaps tell your teammates to allow you to get most of the motes and try to go for this one specifically. As far as the sprees go, again, try to stay safe, use a bow. I would actually say a bow is probably going to be your best weapon in Gambit. People underestimate it. You can pretty much one-shot, headshot any red bar in the entirety of Gambit, which is very useful, and it's a ranged weapon, so you can stay safe by staying away from the enemy. This is how I got my 80 kill, is that I got a bow, and I just kind of stayed safe when enemies were invading, and I just got lots of kills over 2 rounds. And again, high value targets, make sure you get them because they are very rare. This section on invading, pretty much just kill people as you invade, kill people with lots of modes. The speed section, Massacre, something I have not gotten yet, but I can only assume you're probably going to want to use a super for. And these are going to be the long-lasting supers, like the Arc Staff with a Raiden Flux or a Dawn Blade, things that last a really long time. But before you pop a super, try to get a few kills before that, you know? Try to get a bunch of kills with a couple of weapons, maybe use some hand cannons, use the full clip, get like 3 or 4 kills before you go super, so you only have to get those like 8 or 9 kills with your super. Now, it's going to be quite difficult because I think around 12 enemies spawn on a specific side, so you're gonna have to have your teammates not kill anybody. This is gonna be a little bit more difficult just because of the sheer scale. Killing 3 blockers within no more than 3 seconds, use a super. Pretty straightforward. This also ties in with Big Game Hunter, which you need to kill 3 powerful enemies within a short time period. Basically, if they have orange or yellow health enemy, they're big game, so try to kill them very quickly. Alternatively, the wizards, when the primeval spawn, count as big game. So if you kill a blocker and those 2 wizards very quickly with your super, you'll get Big Game Hunter. That's usually how I got it. But killing 3 blockers within 3 seconds between them also counts for Big Game Hunters, so do both of them at the same time. First to block. This is going to be the first to block in a match, not a round, so make sure as soon as you get 5, turn around, go straight back over. You should be able to get first to block pretty easily if you're playing with a nice team. As far as fast fill goes, we haven't done it yet, but I can only assume you have to work with your teammates and let them do the slaying and you do the collecting. You pretty much have to go as fast as possible, and I assume you have to do it in a single side. So as soon as a single round of enemies is finished, go over there with 15 and bank it immediately. This one you definitely have to cooperate with your team. As far as the team stuff, you'll probably just get these passively over time. I wouldn't really worry about them. Taking turns might be something you have to pay attention to. As far as these supers go, every single super subclass has 2 medals, one for the new subclass and one for the 2 old subclass trees. Basically, if you've done it with one of the subclass trees, switch to another one, specifically to getting rapid multi-kills. Use your super on a bunch of ads, and you should get this one. And that's it for Gambit. There's a lot of things to pay attention to, but in my opinion, the biggest thing to pay attention to with Gambit is going to be getting certain kills with the certain weapons, like getting 100 kills with each weapon type, and then doing it with each super. And as soon as you've exhausted all that, then you can focus on the little things in between. let's go ahead and move on to Crucible, another long one to talk about. This entire section is going to be all about ranking up, doing weekly challenges, doing daily challenges, doing bounties. These should be pretty straightforward. It's a lot of freaking bounties to do, a lot of freaking things to win. I have 223 wins, and I still have to do like 225 more wins to go with all the things. There's a lot of things to do here. This particular one has you do a full set of armor and get kills with it. That's a particular one you have to pay attention to, but for the most part, just play a lot. This one should be pretty quick. Same goes with Valor ranks and Glory ranks. Reset your rank a lot, get a lot of rank. These should come over time. The Glory ranks you don't have to reset as often, but the Valor ranks you have to do 5 times in a single season. That one I'm probably never going to go for. As far as Iron Banner goes, it has to do with getting a full set of armor, getting bounties, playing hard. All of these are pretty straightforward. You know, earning packages, doing bounties across all season, holding zones, doing capture zones. These are all straightforward. You don't really need to focus on any one of them, although you should go for this one, which is completing matches with a full set of armor equipped. So as soon as you get a full set, you should be able to work on this one specifically, but the rest of them, play hard, should be straightforward. And then lastly, Trials of the Nine. If you don't have these two yet, you can't get them again. Next up, let's talk about the Mastery. This section here is just all about doing things with the different classes and whatnot. Orbs generated should be the last one, or wins should be the last one. Orbs generated you should do with Masterwork weapon. I haven't used a lot of Masterwork, which is why I haven't gotten a lot with that. And then finally, getting 75 wins with each class is gonna take a really long time. This is passive. Weapons, getting 100 kills with each weapon, some of them requiring precision kills, and all of them requiring a specific metal. Over here in the metal section, the different type of weapon types require you to get, for example, 5 kills in a single match with a weapon, or 7 kills in a single match with a weapon, or 2 kills if they're a specific special weapon or heavy weapon. These should all be pretty straightforward and should go over time. As soon as you finish one weapon, move on to the next. So I finished my auto rifles and I switched over to scout rifles. I finished my pulse rifles and you move on to hand cannons. You know, I've almost finished hand cannons. I should probably finish that pretty soon. The hardest one are going to be the heavy weapons, since obviously you have to get heavy weapon ammo. Hopefully during Mayhem we can kind of just crack these out quite quickly. As far as game types go, I would highly recommend you play the weekly rotating game type. So every single week there's going to be a new weekly rotating game type in the Crucible playlist, which is going to be found here at the bottom. Play that as much as you can. And the reason that is because they rotate weekly. So you're not going to see Supremacy probably for another month. So try to do as much Supremacy as you can instead of just doing quick play, and you'll get more of the Supremacy game mode stuff done as soon as possible. Whereas Control and Clash, they're here all the time, so don't worry about them. And on top of that, there's an entire section in the metals section for all the different game types and all the different things. Again, this is just straightforward, collect your crests, do the objective, get kills, get wins. This one says undefeated rounds, which is obviously part of survival. So if you're playing a game type, head over here, see what you need to do. But for the most part, the wins is probably going to be what holds you up. So like 25 wins or 15 wins in like every single game mode. That's a lot of game modes to do. That's a lot of wins to do. This section on Fire Team has you go in a full team or full Fire Team and finish matches, sometimes doing special different things. For example, a full Fire Team with hand cannons and sidearms. You're gonna have to set some of these up. Some of them have you do very weird things like only get super kills in Mayhem. Should not be that hard, by the way, but you're gonna have to do it. So you're gonna have to set a lot of these Fire Team ones up. So pretty much all of these set up with Fire Teams of full. Next up, the medals. None of the medal ones count for any triumph score. So if you have gotten certain medals here, none of them count. They are all 0. So all of these medal ones I'm not going to go over very much, but they all count as 0, and they're pretty straightforward how you do them. These gold ones are really hard. It's something I would mention. Things like undefeated, these give you an emblem. So I think 7 column undefeated, ran out of medals, and annihilation. They all count for an emblem that you can get, and that emblem will track how many you have of. These medals are straightforward. You get the certain weapons with kills of different classes, of the different supers, of the different weapons. Honestly, don't worry about these. You'll get these over time. I think I got some Supremacy. Where's the Supremacy? Supremacy, yeah. So I played some Supremacy, got some medals from them. They're new, but they don't give me any score. So don't worry about them. Next up, let's talk about Vanguard. This section is not very big as compared to things like Crucible, but there's a couple things you should keep in mind as you're doing them. First section here in campaign, this is all just doing all the campaigns through all of the different DLCs. Just, you should have all of them if you've done all of them. Companion stuff, maybe this is their specific quests, if they have specific exotic quests, or just meeting them, or anything. These all should be done pretty much as soon as you finish the campaign too. As far as the heroic story missions, there's a couple specific ones you should keep in mind. Heroic story missions, each one of them has a boss. I think the Zol one is going to be the strike and not a story mission. Just do each one of these on heroic and you should get one of these 4. Likewise, you have to complete 5 story missions from each of the specific 4 different campaigns, and then lastly 25 of each, so there's some overflow if you want to do some extras. Next up, let's talk about the strikes. The general strikes, you're gonna have to do a lot of them. 250 at the highest. There's a lot of strikes to do, so if you've got nothing else to do, just grind out some strikes. You'll get tokens, you can use them on packages, you can get bounties as you're going along. You're gonna be in strikes a very long time. I'm probably never gonna get these, or if I do get them, it's gonna be like 3 more DLCs down the line. This is gonna take a long time. There's a couple of strike specific ones for the 4 new strikes. For example, there's 3 here, you have to do specific tasks. Now, there's gonna be a lot of things that say get certain wanted things. This is gonna be the same idea as the destinations, except for it's gonna be in strikes. So just play lots of strikes in the playlist, play the Nightfalls, and play them every week. They may change because I've noticed certain ones I should have gotten already. For example, the Warmind strike, I've not gotten any of them. However, I have played Warmind strikes, so I assume they change weekly. So play the different strikes weekly and just hope that you get lucky enough to stumble upon all of these. And then lastly, it's just complete every single strike, and for the most part, if you've played the game a lot, you should have all of them except for Corrupted, which is not currently out right now. It may have released recently actually, but I haven't gotten it. The Nightfall section, this entire section is dedicated to getting a score of greater than 50,000 on every single Nightfall, and then doing special objectives on every Nightfall. So for example, Paramedium, don't let a Brachion remain shielded for more than 40 seconds. Basically just get on those plates as fast as physically possible, and you should be able to get these. Each one of the Nightfalls has their own specific thing. And lastly, in Vanguard is going to be a section on raids. The Leviathan, do the normal and prestige of each different raid and raid lair. You should be able to get these pretty straightforward. As for the Last Wish, it's a bit more expansive. Completing the raid, completing it with full clan mates, doing it a lot of times, the loot hitting chests and whatnot. Completing Petra's Run version of the raid, I assume is a time trials, but I don't know. Completing raid encounters of all the different Void subclasses. There's lots of funny and silly ones. And then finally, there's going to be the 5 different challenge modes in the raid. So this is all raid stuff. As you're doing raids, should come with time. And lastly, the lore section. This is all the different stuff you find around the world. Lawless Frontier, as soon as you finish the campaign, you should have all of them. Everything else is going to be spread throughout different exotic quest lines or the legendary quest lines. You know, for example, trying to get the broadsword might be something. Trying to get the Ace of Spades. These 4 were from Ace of Spades. I assume the Chaperone are probably this section here. There's going to be a lot of different things in a lot of different sections. There's going to be shiny stuff. You know, you'll find ghosts hidden in the corners somewhere. You'll find different glowing things like salvage pieces. They'll just be everywhere. For the most part, look up a guide, because I have no idea. I have gotten very little of them. Pretty straightforward. You just go to a location, get a collectible. And the last thing I want to mention are these seals. I've been told by somebody else that these seals appear on your character in some way. I don't know if it's on your character screen, or if it's on your emblem to display, or if you can only pick one of them, and there's like a third line here that says, I'm a raid completionist and I've got the raid seal or something. I've been told it's something like this, but obviously I have not gotten close to completing any one of them. And for the most part, each one of them is going to be the pinnacle or some of the hardest things, or just a random set of things in all of the activities. Include getting things like the entire collections, which we'll talk about very briefly, doing the heroic story missions on Io, somewhat random, hunting people. The destination one is just going to be a random assortment of the different ones. You just have to complete each one. So if this one is probably going to be the easiest one, just hunt these specific people down, and you should be able to get a destination seal pretty quickly. Now, let's talk about very briefly the collections, which is one over to the left here in the Taz. these are the badges. These have to do with collecting all the weapons and armor from all the different sections, whether it being all the exotics, whether it be all of the different planetary armors and weapons for the different campaigns, whether it be getting all the Crucible or Gambit armors or the raid armors and weapons and stuff. This is going to be all about the different things that you found throughout the world, and a lot of them tell you where the source is. For example, this says source completing activities in the Dreaming City. When it comes to Reverie Dawn, you just complete the bounties from Petra Bench, and you should get them pretty quickly, or random legendary angles. So that should be pretty straightforward. One thing I would like to mention is that some of these things actually look really cool. Is that just me, or does this Sparrow not look freaking awesome? This actually might be in the thumbnail, so I thought I'd mention that. There's a lot of cool things in badges. I don't think you can display these because I don't see a method in which you can display them. And that's it. That is a general overview of triumphs. Hopefully I didn't take too long. Hopefully I cut out a whole bunch, but this video was bound to be long because there is a lot of freaking triumphs in this game. But that's it. Let me know in the comments down below if you have any questions, if you can tell me about some secret stuff I haven't seen, or if there's something that I missed. Let me know. Hopefully you enjoyed. Hopefully you found this useful, and hopefully you're going out there to try to get a really high triumph score. And also let me know in the comments down below what your triumph score is. I want to know if some of you guys are beating, because I know some of you are probably beating my 23,500, but I just want to hear it from you. And of course, thank you for lasting this long. Of course, the floofers on screen now. Hopefully I remember. This is a doozy. I mentioned this video a while ago, but it is a very long breadth to cover, and hopefully I minimized it for you so you didn't have to read everything and get overwhelmed. Hopefully I helped, is what I'm trying to say. But that's it. Of course, you've been your host, Dychronic. I'll see you guys on the next one.